Good evening, and welcome to another incoherent version of Diatribes on the Vice of Doom. Now here's your indifferent, insouciant host, Voice of Doom. Hello. It's 1:25 a.m. Pacific Standard, whatever the hell it is, time. And I haven't done a diatribe in 4 or 5 days, and I think my fan is getting impatient to hear what I have to say. So I will ramble on and really do a off-the-cuff diatribe. It's just general musings, but maybe my one true fan will get some enlightenment or some wisdom from what I'm about to say, because I've always explained throughout my diatribes how the microcosm in your one life will reflect the macrocosm. And I've noticed it lately, and I will say that in the last week or so I've considered removing myself from this mortal coil, because just things are hard and things haven't gone as well as I would hope. My younger kid, who I'm proud of, is in the army now, and I don't know what's going to become of him. And my older kid, who's had a problem with disabilities and autism and things like that, has had a hard time adjusting to how to deal with life. And I was hoping that by this time everybody would be on their own, but it's not good, because Max cannot function because he's discovered that alcohol brings him equilibrium, but it's not the same equilibrium we have. So he's in a big dilemma, and the only thing that will help is chanting and trying to bring out the Buddha nature that's within everyone, and hope that he has a mission. But here's how it went, and this is a little lesson on how life can be very strange, and you have to kind of appreciate how the universe has a certain rhythm to it. Now, I work 6 days a week, and then I gamble, and oftentimes I will go to the convenience store and buy a few shots and some swishers and go home. That's the way my life is right now. Okay, I don't usually go to this one store, but I went there for some reason, because I knew that the swishers were 2 for 99 cents. So I know that that's going by the wayside, so I have to know where the stores are that have the good deal. So I go to this convenience store, and I walk in, and some lady that I really don't know, but I've seen, comes up and says, "Did you hear about Max?" And I go, "No, what? Was he arrested?" That was my first words. And she goes, "No, he collapsed in front of this store here, and they took him to the hospital, and he wasn't breathing." So that's the kind of news that makes you a little scared and a little bit panicky. But I wasn't panicked, because I know what's happening, and he hasn't been able to find a job, and he drinks a lot, and he probably has to go and get a shot or two before he can start his day. So he's getting alcohol poisoning, and he's not going to live much longer. Okay. So I said, they took him to the hospital, and they said, yeah, he wasn't breathing, so they took him to the hospital. But when he was in the ambulance, he was sitting up and going, it's okay. And she said, should I call your dad? And he said, no, fuck no. Which indicated that he thinks that he doesn't want to let me know that he's a mess. Okay. So I say, if he doesn't want me to know what's happening with his life, because he's 27 years old and he's perfectly capable of handling his own life, then I'll just pretend like nothing's going on. So that was like Thursday or Friday that I found all this out. And then Saturday, and today's Sunday. Okay. So it's like, I mean, he is a grown man, according to him, but I should still show some concern. So I went to the hospital, and I found out he was checked in once, and then checked out, and then checked in again, and then checked out. And I'm like, well, I'll go to Mallory, which is the mental health institute in town. And I left a message there saying if he's in here, then have him call me. And that's it. Because I know him. And he's giving himself alcohol poisoning. He's going to die. But in the meantime, he's going to get attention. And he's going to collapse, and then they're going to call the ambulance. He's going to spend time in the hospital because he's got Munchausen by proxy, but he's the proxy. He needs to make himself feel like he's sick in order to, get attention, feel like, not be in control. Now, he's perfectly capable of functioning in society, but there's karmic retribution for him. It's very easy to explain if you're on a Buddhist level, because there's people out there that just have it in for him. They just don't like him, just like Orangey. And they want to destroy him for some reason. And he really doesn't deserve it, because he's trying his best. He just doesn't function on the same plane we do. He has no idea how to be normal. And this autism thing, you better not poo-poo it. Because if you have kids and they say they're autistic, or the powers that be or whoever say your kid is autistic, you better try to intervene quickly, as early as possible. Because all these autistic kids that were born in 1995, 96 are now adults, and they're on TikTok, and you see what's happening. They're out of their minds. They have no idea what reality is. I'm going to ramble on this innocuous subject that has nothing to do with anything, because when I explain my microcosm, is a direct reflection on the macrocosm. Anyone that doesn't see it is blind. Because if you look at the world and what used to be the United States in particular, you will see that the people in charge get away with everything. The people that are elected get away with everything, and they should be incarcerated. I mean, that's obvious. They should be incarcerated. I mean, some of them are evil to the point where you can't even describe it, and I don't want to think about what the possibilities are. But they're so bad that I can't articulate them. because to do so would make me a conspiracy theorist and somebody who reads too much Dean Koontz. But it might actually be happening, and what I'm saying is something you have to look into yourself. But the point is, the world's gone mad, and this country is not functioning on many levels. Let's just take one subject, the debt ceiling. Okay. We have to do some legislation in order to raise the limit to which we can spend. It's at 32 trillion now, and we want to raise it to 34.7 trillion. So we're going to negotiate with the Senate, who's a mess. I'd get rid of it. With the Congress, who are goppers, and with this senile idiot being run by left-wing, people that have a whole different agenda. Okay, so let's vote on the debt ceiling. That makes no freaking sense, and anybody with half a brain knows it. Come on. I have a credit card. It has a $3,000 limit. Well, I've reached the limit, and I can't pay all my bills, so I will just send in an application or call up the credit place and say, give me $500 more on my limit. Okay, here's $500 more. Spend it in 2 days, and now it's like, now I'm got $3,500 on my credit card that I gotta pay the minimum on, that I'll pay interest on for the rest of my life. And that'll go by the wayside pretty soon, so forget them. The government will put a debt ceiling, 34.7 trillion. You know they're going to reach it. When has it ever gone down? When has it ever slowed? When has it ever stayed even? Like, is it 31 trillion, but it's staying that way? Hey, it's gone down a little bit. No, you've never seen that. It just keeps going up, and they keep voting over and over again and having these fights about stupid ass, let's raise the debt ceiling, but we got to tie it to cuts in spending, or we got to tie it to the Green New Deal, or we got to tie it. Come on. We're going to just tie it to where we're tying ourselves under water with ropes. Now, this debt ceiling business, just say, look, we'll spend as much as we want until the dollar is totally worthless, and then we'll worry about that later. Let's not have a fight about raising the debt ceiling to 34.7 trillion when we know we're going to go past that in a matter of minutes. It's a ridiculous concept of how they're voting to, and if we're going to default. No. They're not going to default. They'll pay the interest. They'll take it out of everybody else's hide. The problem is shutdowns. Those goppers wouldn't negotiate with us. They didn't see things our way, and so we couldn't keep the government going, so we shut down the government. You know what they do? Okay. It's already happened with the first half-white president. What they do is they shut down the government. The first thing they do is shut down all the parks, all the monuments in D.C., so that tourists and people that took their kids to see things can't see them. That's the first thing they do. Insidious fiends. And the second thing they do is furlough all the government officials that work for the government and say, well, since the government's shut down, you can't come to work. And then 3 weeks later, they get a deal going, and then they give everybody their back pay. So why not just keep people working anyway? You're working and you get paid later. No, we'll furlough you and then we'll pay you later for the time you missed. That's a little factoid about why this country is going down. Not going down. Come on. It's already down. It's going to be in the pit abyss, smoldering, just nothing but smoldering ashes with radioactive fallout coming from every direction and acid rain falling on the trees. And they did nothing wrong. So the trees are going to pay for our sins. So that's it. I'm just ranting because my life sucks. I'm going to stay alive. I got a mission on this planet, but I could kill myself if I saw fit. So I'll talk to you later, and bye. Thanks, Nick, for watching.